Good morning. This is day 146 on my hike from Mexico to Canada on the Pacific Crest Trail. That is where I camped last night, and there's a good spot next to this pond. Did hear some animal activity, but don't know. I think I heard some antlers at one point. Then there's a little mouse kind of by my tent. Thankfully didn't chew through anything. It is 8:15 in the morning. Very late start. It was cold again, and I want raining, light rain, but I woke up to the sounds of raindrops hitting my tent again, and it was cold, and I just turned off my alarm and rolled back over. It's like I'm not getting back out in this crap. So now I'm in a hole already to start the day, which sucks. But thankfully my tent, it wasn't crazy rain, it was more like a drizzle, I'd say, but constant. I was like half asleep during it. But my tent is dried and no condensation in the middle or in the inside today, which is good. Yeah, just not what I was hoping for. More rain. It wasn't showing any of it on the forecast, but I'm glad it's coming at night when I'm in my tent at least. Body's a little beat up right now, but just taking my first steps, so we'll see how that evolves. I think today's gonna be tough. All of these days have tons of elevation gain. If I were to do 28 miles today from where I started, I think it'd be 7,500 feet of elevation gain and descent. And there's no way I'm getting that done today with the time, the start and everything. I'll be really lucky if I get mid-20s. It's probably gonna be a lower 20 day, or I'll be hiking into the night. But on top of that, there's a good amount of blowdowns. It sounds like, where you just have to take some kind of off-trail routes around them, which is nothing new. And it sounds like maybe all the comments were also saying that the Sobos who are complaining about this section, so you can see there are raindrops down there. Sobos complaining about this section. It's not that bad relative to other parts of the trail we've already done. It's just dangerous when it's wet. So hopefully it's not as bad as some people have directly told me, and I've kind of heard through the grapevine, but a lot of comments from Nobos saying it's not as bad, which is good. But nonetheless, gonna be hard. So I'll see you all down the line. Day 146. The forecast I ran last night in the Garmin wasn't showing rain till Monday, but it's overcast everywhere here, every direction. And it rained lightly late last night, early this morning, for at least a few hours, because it woke me up and then kept hitting snooze, and it was doing it. So I hope it really just stays overcast today. I think all that red are huckleberries, because you look out far, but then you look at ones close to here, and you can see the berries in there. I think they're huckleberries versus blueberries. Sometimes it's hard to tell. Actually, it's always hard to tell for the most part. When they're side by side, it's easy. These look like blueberries more to me, but I think they're huckleberries. I don't know. But I think that's what all it is, which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. It's not as cold as yesterday, and I don't mind the overcast as long as it doesn't rain. Especially with these fall colors, it's kind of a nice hike. I'm only 1.8 miles in on the day. Only 500 feet of elevation gain. I'm just tired. I don't know. Not sleepy tired, just exhausted. My body's just not wanting to push through it now. But psychologically, I'm good. It's just not want to cooperate. But I paused because this is 150 miles left to go from this mile that I'm on right now. You're getting close when you're counting down in quantities of 50. It just feels so quintessential fall out here. Growing up in the Midwest, very used to fall indicating or indications of fall being the leaves on the ground, the colors that you're seeing, the overcast gloominess, a little cool out. Some strange clouds over these peaks. Formations. Wow. A very seasoned thru-hiker friend of mine in Mammoth Trail taught me you don't say the R word out here. But I'll say it smells like precipitation. I don't know if that's what's on the ground from this morning, still just kind of stirred everything up, or if it's in the air. I hope it holds off. I just reached the top of this climb. It was over 1,000 feet, just over 3.5 miles, less than 3.5 miles. I'm exhausted. I don't know. I shouldn't be as tired from that. I wonder if it has something to do with the elevation. I'm at like 6,500 feet right now. I don't think I've been that high for much of the last couple weeks. It was a struggle getting up here. Good thing is, over the next 7.5 to 8 miles, it's 2,500 feet of descent with only like 600 feet of gain. But then the bad thing is after that, what goes down must come up. So just trek on. That's Mount Rainier, which is actually further away from me than Seattle. Seattle being kind of that direction behind those mountains. Beautiful, beautiful view though, with all these little jagged peaks and stuff. Pretty cool. Let me zoom in so y'all can see better. That's kind of what I mean by the little jagged peaks. This is a really cool time to be here. Time of the year. I had a pretty steep initial descent down. I got a long ways to go on the descent. Very nice scenery. A little windy all of a sudden. It's cool to see the contours from the water in the valley. Yeah, that doesn't look great weather-wise. That's Glacier Peak, really close to it. That's completely covered in clouds right now. I am just under 5 miles in. It is 10:15, so a really poor start once again. It's been tough, like yesterday's first miles, really pretty tough climb up. And then just tough on the joints and sort of the muscles and ligaments and tendons, everything when coming down kind of steep terrain with a bunch of rocks and stuff like that. So I might just sit on this seemingly perfectly placed rock for like a minute or two just to give my feet a rest because they're pretty sore. Well, I just found out my dad is going to find a way. I assume he's flying to Seattle and then driving to get to one of the, I think it's called Rainy Pass, like one of the passes shortly before I will be making my final push to finish. So just wants to see me before I finish because he's been watching and following along closely the whole time and helping me with little things here and there. And then it'll be really cool, and then also get to take me, it'll be helpful with logistics after the hike because he'll be able to pick me up and take me to Seattle or Vancouver or wherever. So that'll be really, really good. I just learned that news in my little break on the rock. And yeah, sun's peeking out a little bit, so that's good. But I still got quite a ways to go in general. These are tougher miles and slower miles, so I can't get ahead of my skis here. Takes one wrong step to end a hike, and that can happen. And literally, I started this hike out. The second mile, I sprained my ankle, and it affected me for another 178 miles, and at which point I had to, because of a secondary injury, had to stop. So I'm obviously in much better shape and stronger and kind of toughened up my ligaments and stuff since then, but that's all it takes. So there's a pretty dangerous-ish section coming up, I guess, in this section, parts coming up with these blowdowns. So based on what I read, if it's like wet or something, it can be quite dangerous. So hopefully the weather holds. I'm just saying I don't want to, nothing's final yet, but it'll be nice to see my dad shortly before finishing. He just said wanted to be a part of it. It's a pretty epic accomplishment, and then to be there to help me with anything. So it's super nice of him to go all the way out of his way from Chicago area near the Wisconsin border to do that. So that'll be cool. It'll be great to see him. Haven't seen him since Christmas. And also it'll be really nice to have the logistical help of getting out of the backcountry and then to somewhere where I can continue on, which would probably be to see my friend Seb in Vancouver. I think based on the map, we're gonna kind of walk around, or the PCT kind of goes around Glacier Peak on the right side, so the east side. So at the moment, I'm kind of walking closer to it. When I turn the corner, it's not as nice now with the peaks, but it looked like a postcard in that clearing right there. Nice to parallel this creek for a little while. It felt a little enchanting in there, in this valley. Just the colors and stuff, the moss. I'm surprised there hasn't been more of this. This is kind of what I pictured Washington to be like. But maybe that's because my time in Washington prior was more along the coast. More, I don't know if it's different climate, but like kind of more rainforesty. But yeah, this is kind of what I had in mind. Well, that creek probably fed into this or turned into it, but I think fed into it. It's called the White Chuck River, and you can see a little bit in there. The color, you'll get a much better view in a second when I cross this bridge. I was watching as I was climbing down, or looking at it as I was climbing down. There was one other creek, this whole trail that's been like white like this. That was somewhere near Crater Lake, if I recall. Pretty cool. I've been going through some blowdowns. Nothing I haven't seen before. Really nothing to write home about so far. But wow, look at how many are in this river. Obviously some crazy storm came crashing through here at some point. So it's about 10 minutes from noon and I've gone 8 3/4 miles. So basically by noon I'll have gone 9 miles, which is horrendous. I don't know the last time I did less than 10 miles by noon. It's just terrible. But I got a late start. Heard some kind of, sounded like I don't know, scream or noise or something. Echoing. Late start, tough terrain, both elevation change and stepping on for a while. Now it's much better, but there's been a good amount of easy blowdowns, just slowing me down a bit. And I'm just exhausted, totally exhausted, but it just sucks. It was drizzling for hours this morning because it wasn't a hard rain, but it was enough for my half-conscious self to just like roll over and be like, I'm not just taking down camp and when it's raining, light rain or drizzle or whatever you want to call it. But I mean, it was enough to wake me up and keep me in bed. So whatever, but kind of disappointed in myself today so far. Well, it's noon. I'm taking my first real break of the day besides sitting on that rock for 2 minutes earlier. It smells really nice and just aquatic and fresh here. This is the creek I was planning to come to, so I'm gonna fill up some water, make a tortilla with Nutella, and try to massage my left shin, which is hurting, and then try to get moving. I can't believe it's noon already. I never take my first break this late, but whatever. 9 miles in. I'm at the kind of bottom of this climbing valley. I now have 3,700 feet of gain over the next 10 miles, and I think that includes a bunch of blowdowns. I'm just moving kind of slow today, largely terrain driven and trail driven, but also just how I'm feeling. My body's just exhausted, I think. Silty, which makes it look milky. All right, how am I getting across this one? Okay, I see a log in there, so I'm gonna try to go over that and stay dry. It's nothing I haven't seen before, but these blowdowns are starting to suck a little bit. Like, obviously that's impossible to pass, so I had to go around that way. Look who it is. It's 9.
It's me.
From Chester. Yeah, I can't believe we ran into each other. I was super pumped to see him here, so we'll see y'all down the line.
Trail provides.
Man, I can't believe some of the people I'm actually seeing again. I thought for sure a guy was looking for his name in the logs for a while, and then I just kind of stopped and gave up because it was such a gap. And I mean, I think it's a balance. People who are ahead now, they don't necessarily, if they're having a good time, want to finish, so you kind of take it slower at the end, enjoy it more, which I've kind of wanted to do. But it's so nice getting to see a lot of the friends I've made on trail again. It's pretty awesome. So that was my friend 9, or Dylan. He was with 2 other girls I had not yet met, but all 3 of them had their stuff laid out to dry in the sun. So, I mean, it was light rain yesterday, for early this morning, I should say, at least from the hours of like 3 to 6 or something like that. But by the time I actually rolled out of bed, like 7:30, the stuff had dried out. So I guess it really does vary where you're camped and maybe elevation stuff. And thankfully I didn't have much condensation. But it is so nice to have a break from having to dry stuff out and worry about that. And that really is a real worry, because it's like, if I don't catch a place where the sun is A, out, and B, peeks through, like right now, say this is the first time the sun came out, well, there's really nowhere for me to go right now where I can lay my stuff out where there's direct light, because I'm in this very covered forested part. So you really do have to kind of worry about that, because otherwise you're sleeping in a wet, damp sleeping bag, which is awful and kind of counterproductive, and then a wet tent. And yesterday when I set up my tent last night, there's still a little moisture on the inside, so it didn't even fully dry, but I was able to get it 90% of the way there. So I just finished it off when I got to set it up last night with like my bandana. But yeah, it really does seem to vary where you camp, and probably elevation and all that stuff impacts the wetness of your gear and tent. All right, I would now officially categorize these blowdowns as pretty bad. It's hard to truly compare because I'm struggling to remember all the sections and all the blowdowns, but I would say I can really only think of 2 that were worse. A lot of people are saying, oh, it's not that bad, we've done so much worse. I don't recall much worse except for 2. I haven't been filming them because it's been doing like an obstacle course, but like, it depends how much longer this goes on for. If it stops soon, then I think that's a factor, because there were definitely ones that just went on longer. Hey, it's quite a wall. I guess that explains where the silt comes from in the water. Probably from that or other parts of this area like it. This appears to be one of the more difficult crossings of this whole journey. I don't see too much besides that thin little log there. I'm gonna have to walk on a log down just to get to that little log and across. Yeah, I'm really not liking this. This just looks dangerous. I don't see anywhere else to go though. I surveyed it a bit. Maybe higher up or something. Actually, I was initially looking at that, but I think I like this path better. So I'm gonna get down off of this and try to come around, get on those rocks and go across. Obviously, I'll not be filming it. This is one of the sketchier crossings, I would say. Well, that's a good sign. All the trekking pole marks means a lot of other people have the same idea. And while I'm not one to follow the crowd, most people out here at this point kind of know what they're doing, so I think that's a good sign. Great success. My left ankle, that tendon, it's probably my T-band. I don't know if it runs over the ankle, but is popping every step now again, which was doing for like a week and a half. It doesn't hurt that much, so I really didn't let it bother me, but it's gotten to the point where my body is subconsciously walking different, so it doesn't do it. It's back. It's annoying the shit out of me. I stood on this log to try to stretch it out and then realized how fun this was. Probably dumb too, but watch this. Kind of cool. This climb is brutal. It's so steep. It's 3,086 feet over 6.8 miles. PCT really doesn't let you enjoy the end. They really make you earn it. Oh. I'm so tired on so many levels. I am so freaking exhausted. Just filling up water for the last mile on the third push up for this part of the up. And then I'm gonna take my lunch break. It's already 2:55, but actually on that note, the 9 and then the 2 girls he was with, and I just met another girl here for the first time, talking to all of them. Everyone's in the same boat with like the rain and the dark and the cold. Just like the girl I just met said she's never in her normal life ever hit the snooze button, but this morning, just like me, the rain, the cold, the dark, it's hard to get moving. The conversation started, she was like, hey, how far are you going today? And I just responded like, oh, because I got a late start. And she's like, same. And she goes, everyone I've talked to is in the same reaction. So I don't know, just information, data point, how it is, not just me, I guess. So I got my water that I just mentioned, the break, right up there, and it's clear. You can see down there it's clear. It's kind of coming through here. But crazy, right on the other side of this log is the silty water. Sorry, there we go. I don't know if you can see that, but like, you can see the color of it is totally different. Kind of coming together here. I should have taken my lunch break at that last creek. This has been another climb up, and I just totally drained. It's amazing. I'm usually at lunch around 2. Now I'll be starting my lunch around 3:30. How much my body notices it. Like, I feel like I'm burning reserves right now just to keep going. I feel so weak. All right, I've reached Pumice Creek, just over 15 miles on the day. Very tough miles. I'm gonna take my lunch break here. It's ready. I haven't looked, but probably 3:30 or something. And I'm way behind on the day. I'm hurting shins and ankle and all this stuff, but hanging in there. Very nice view for lunch break. So this is the actual Pumice Creek. The water's a little silty, but I think it'll be fine. Hopefully it won't mess up my filter too much. I just finished my lunch break. It's 4:45. This has got to be the latest I've ever done a lunch, and it sucks because like the sun goes down literally in like 2 hours. So stupid. I'm gonna try to hit at least another 5 miles, which is so lame. That's like 20 on the day, but it's just such tough terrain and a late start. And also where kind of the miles after that, where campsites and water line, there isn't much, and it's a crazy climb. So I think it's just the smarter move given everything and where I'm at here, but we'll see. This is a joke. Like if I just showed you what I climbed up to get here, like it's not even a trail. It's just absurd side trails that people have made. I think I found the trail again, but like F this shit. Just met a nice guy named Greenhorn who was heading southbound, but he flip-flopped, meaning he was Nobo, and then he got hurt in Etna. It said he had to take a month off, and so then he flipped up to the border in Canada and is coming down south to try to get as far as he can before winter hits, hopefully all the way back to Etna, but who knows. But the reason I'm sharing this is, one, it's just nice running into people. I didn't know him before, but two, there's people I caught up to a group of people today, one of which I knew before, as I pointed out, and someone in that group up ahead had sent this guy, Greenhorn, with a message to the rest of the group, and he thought maybe it was for me, so we stopped and talked. But that's what's kind of fun out here. Like, you have no service. You technically could communicate if you both have PLBs, like Garmin InReaches, but you sort of, it's a community in that way. You can pass messages down trail that way, and it's kind of cool. But I respect that guy. He started early March, and he's just gone off trail a bunch of times, and he's still hanging in there and being persistent. And that I can relate to that. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, because not necessarily any. I mean, it does make it harder, but everyone has different challenges. Like, I was talking to a guy, people are from abroad, they have it harder in a way here than I do, because I am very familiar with this country. I've been to all these states before. I know people in them. I live in California. There's a comfort level there. Whereas if you're from halfway around the world, there's added challenges or stresses, I think there. So, like, everyone's got their stuff, but I'm only saying because I can empathize. Like, I know how insanely hard it is to keep going when you're hurting, and then when you even have to take breaks, how insanely challenging it is mentally to stay focused and trust that you'll still be able to make it and to rebound from injuries and keep pushing. So when I, meeting somebody who's been at this since early March and is still out here trying to make it, I know what that entails, and it says a lot to me, or it takes a lot to do that. Here's a break in a decent part of the trail right now, so I can talk. I get extra frustrated in terrain on the trail like this, not because it makes it harder. Like, there's just so much of this shit. Look at this. Because it makes it more dangerous. I have almost tripped on roots, and slipped down or fell like 3 or 4 times now. Like, serious falls that could be like trail ending falls, and that just pisses me off that this isn't taken care of properly. And there's been sections like this on the trail, and I know resources, and I don't need to get into all that now, but like, that's why I get so frustrated. Is not because it's extra work, or it's because my ankles and feet and everything are just moving at odd angles. I'm going to sometimes step over that and jump down, like your knees hurt. Like, it's just prone to injury or something even more serious that could like really ruin your hike. Shit. I was trying to film that crossing, but I didn't really plan it out much, and there are rocks under that moss, but it sinks down so much I nearly got my feet soaked. I think I reacted just in enough time. Cross over here. Look at how cool this is. You have clear water and milky, silty water mixing right there, like a drink being blended. Today just sucks. Thank God it's not raining. I'm gonna have to revise my daily goals. It was 25, And this elevation up and down, crazy amount of increase and decrease every day, plus the shitty terrain between blowdowns and rocks everywhere and roots everywhere and overgrown trail and trail that's just falling apart. There's no way I'm doing 25s right now through this shit. So thankfully, I think I have enough food to get me an extra day. I have to revise my goal to be low 20s a day. Oh, and the other factor contributing to the kind of downward revision goal is the lack of daylight. Like, it's just less and less. The days recently that I've been putting up mid-20s, high 20s to 30, I've been waking up super early, hiking in the dark for a few hours. Like, I'm just so freaking exhausted and fatigued. I'm struggling to do that after these days now. So if I'm able to do that, maybe, who knows, but like, that's the other factor playing into all this too, is the daylight is just less. Actually, let me flip it so you can see the kind of shit I'm walking on. I mean, there's been enough other parts of the trail like this, but like, when it's overgrown and the trail is worn out, like earlier I had one like this and I couldn't see where I was stepping because it was so overgrown, and there's a big hole like this. I almost fell down the side. Like, anyways, freaking annoying. I just passed another southbound homie, presumably a flip-flopper, and we chatted briefly, but he said that he just saw a bear here and the bear ran off right away, but it's very steep, so I'm going to keep my eyes out for that. I am so over today. Just, I haven't even hit 20 miles yet. I'm under 18 miles right now, and it's like probably an hour or so till sunset. It's just awful. Now, all that said, I have not been passed by anybody, and I've passed a bunch of people, so relatively I think I'm making decent time, but it still feels like I've just totally fallen off here. All right, I'm gonna take my AirPods out just because of the bear situation. I mean, the reality is, mountain lions, bears are kind of around us all the time, right? So, is right now any different than any other moment? Probably not. But since there was a confirmed sighting literally minutes ago right around here, I guess it's just prudent to be a little more alert. Take the earpods out. I am so exhausted and just over this right now that I am entirely unenamored by the beauty that objectively I know this is. I've taught myself this is a way to rest and take some of the weight off without having to exert effort. I'm so exhausted. I don't get it. Today's sucked and it's so hard, but yesterday I think was more elevation gain and more miles, and I was tired yesterday, but I am way more exhausted today. Basically at the top of this climb, it's called Fire Creek Pass, elevation 6,300 feet. I still got like, I think 2 or 3 miles to go to get to where I'm camped, but that's mostly downhill. Still sub 20 miles on the day. Let's go. That was sarcasm. Let's see what's going on this side though. This is looking pretty epic. Wow, okay. Despite being how I feel, this is actually pretty breathtaking right now. Wow. I think that's kind of some of the stuff I've seen this morning, just closer up a little bit. So sunset is in 27 minutes. I have 1.3 miles to go to get to the potential place that is way earlier than I was even considering camping, but just how this day is going. And then there's another one like half a mile further that in my revised analysis I was kind of targeting. Or yeah, it's like 0.7 miles, something like that further. Nope, half a mile further. So I should be able to get to the first one before it's dark. Man, this is just literally a 20-mile day. It just feels pathetic, but I mean, that whole group of people I met said they've been doing sub 20 days out here. I mean, the days I've been putting up higher numbers, I'm getting up way earlier and just, I mean, I think it's just all catching up to me, honestly. I've been going really hard since Ashland. That was like over a month ago, I think now. Had a few Neros, but like nothing sufficient really. And it's cold, dark, rainy. It's just so hard to get moving. And without doing that, because of the less daylight, with this terrain and everything, you just can't be putting up big numbers. I'm so wiped right now. This feels like a day in the Sierras. Like a 20-mile day in the Sierras was a big deal, for me at least, and I think most people. And that's what this feels like right now. Well, there's Glacier Peak still covered, clouds on top. Right there. So when I was showing you about Glacier Peak, I had stopped to put on my fleece because it's quite cooler on this side. I think, so positives on today, my plantar fasciitis has been non-existent, which is amazing. I think maybe massaging it the last couple times it's been hurting, and I put some of the stuff that I got at the when I went to the acupuncturist in Ashland, this like topical, I put some of that on there. I don't know if that might have helped too, but so that's been good. Left knee has been good too. I think treating it with ibuprofen was the right move actually yesterday and last night. But like, so what I'm getting at is like my feet are holding up okay. Like the issue I had today for sure for a while was a popping left ankle again, which is just it's past the point of irritation now. It's so freaking, it sucks. But it's unstable, but it's only been popping probably a fourth of today. It is doing it right now though, of course. And then my shins are being weird, but like all in all, I could keep going. It's really right now, I'm so exhausted, like just general fatigue. That's what it is. And then also like the darkness and stuff. But if there was a decent place to kind of keep going and set up camp and water, I'd probably do that and push into the night. But there's just not. There's this thing called Milk Creek, which is the bottom of this big climb down now. And then it's like a 3,000 foot climb up, and like there's like no water or really tent sites to the top. And it just doesn't make sense, really. There's not good campsites even at Milk Creek. You can't get water from there. I mean, you could, but it's really silty. So all these reasons, it just makes sense for me to post up in one of these next two spots. Coming up to Mica Lake. It's very blue. It's probably going to be home for the night. Wow, I don't know if the camera's going to capture this right now, this time of day, but it is so blue. Wow, that is cool. Nice, the trail goes right next to it. I might push on the extra half mile, I'm not sure. Yesterday there was light till 7:30, it's 7 o'clock now. So sunset was like, I don't know, 7 minutes ago or something. All right, I'm gonna push the extra half mile. In a vacuum, I would have camped there. However, my friend Nine told me they were camping there, I think with the idea of like, hey, I should camp there too, but there's not enough spots for everyone. And I got there first, except for the one person I had not met yet, where I accidentally intercepted that message down trail. And so we chatted for a bit, but I just don't want them to get there and have like bad spots, which is not really how trail etiquette works. It's kind of like first come, first serve. And that's why I said, like, if I didn't know that there are all these other people and like their old trail family planning to camp and stuff, I was just showing up on my own, I would have totally taken that spot, called it a day. But since I know that, I don't want them to be in a bind. So I'm gonna power on to this next spot. Sucks because it's dark now, but getting dark, but hopefully won't be too bad of a half a mile. you.